Hey, everybody. Shav, Nobody Else's Auto. 7 o'clock Sunday evening time for some Sunday night live chat. Looks like we got a bunch of you sitting here ready to go. Our good friend Charles is here with us. Matt's on. Jim's here. Randall with the Nut Farm. Bill Wagaman. And let's see. Looks like we're connecting on Facebook as well. As always, we are live on two formats, both Facebook and YouTube. As you see me glancing back and forth between the monitors, I'm keeping up with comments on both formats. And that's why if I address a comment you don't see, it's probably on the other format. So, anyway, glad you guys are back, ready to go for another evening. Lots of stuff to talk about tonight. Lots of fun to have. The auction mountain continues to grow. Even though we keep whittling it down, it just keeps growing and getting bigger. Rusty's here. Tony's on. Kevin L. made it. GDP, that's me, is back. Dad's here with us. That's right, Bill. Happy birthday to Big Daddy Don Garlitz. I've seen that popping up all over Facebook here today with Big Daddy's birthday, like 93 or something like that. Lee's here. Pete from down in Arkansas is here. Kenny's on. Alan's here with us. Brian Dispatch. Freezing isn't the word for it, actually. Now, according to you guys up in your neck of the woods, it's probably not a big deal. Here, I think today it got up to like 5. And I don't like that at all. I am not a fan of 5 for a high. I'm not a fan of 5, period. When 5's the high, that is really bad. John's here with us. So, yeah, it's been pretty miserable around here for about the last week, actually. But it got really frigid here. So, number one says negative 41. 9 in Idaho. So, yeah, it's kind of a winter freeze going on all over. Andy's here with us. But so we got some snow earlier this week. Barry's here with us on Facebook. And never got a chance to melt off. We've still got snow. And it's supposed to be like Wednesday before we get above freezing. Tomorrow's still supposed to be like single digits up into the 20s by Tuesday and hopefully be above freezing by Wednesday. So Scott's here with us on Facebook as well. Nick's on. So, heat wave in Pennsylvania at 34. So, yeah, and I know everybody's getting slapped with it. It's that time of the year. It's just not very productive by any means. Bill Disk's on with us. So, not an extremely productive week. Didn't do really anything outside. Got a lot of stuff done in the shop, which needs to happen. The shop's a wreck. And I actually did make some progress in here, which is great for you guys because I found more cool auction stuff. Steve's with us from Iowa, -6 there. So I think it's probably down under 0 here. I don't know. I don't want to be out there and find out. It ain't even that warm in the shop, even with the heater on. So yesterday I think the heater ran all day and got up to like 54. So it just miserable. 73 Buick Man's here with us. 65 in Georgia today. Well, you're doing way better than us. Joe's here, Thornhill on Facebook as well. So glad you guys all made it back. And like I said, just miserable week around here. And I know it's pretty much like that across the board right now with this winter freeze snap that's all over everywhere. Johnny C's here, even down into Oklahoma and Texas. So Weston's back with us. So it is no fun at all. So obviously I was pretty limited as what I do. Didn't pick up any cars this week. I was pretty much locked in the shop. But like I said, at least that was productive. Neil's here with us. Some of you guys did catch the snow video. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, that was completely something I didn't even think about till I got out there that day. Must have been like Monday. GOB's here. We had some snow last weekend, or maybe it was Monday. I'm not sure. But when I went out there, maybe it snowed Monday and I did it Tuesday, something like that. But I never expected that. I had some parts to check for guys. So unfortunately I can drive pretty much wherever I need to go. But I never really expected to see the way the wind whipped the snow and the drifts around the cars. So it was definitely different. Like I said, I didn't take any gear with me. I had no mics with me. I had nothing. But I was like, it may not be here next time I'm here. So I went ahead and shot that. Not a Garage is here. We had a high of 5 today. So big jobs here. Ooh, they had 13 and a half inches of snow. We didn't get quite that bad. So I hope it doesn't. Grant's here with a straight 6 fan. Tony's on. 30 below in the Black Hills. Woof. Woof. Yeah. Don't want any of that. So I'm glad you guys liked that snowdrift video. Like I said, that was something just off a whim. Oh, just a complete whim. Just the more of that I saw how, it would be no snow here and a 2-foot drift here. By the way, the wind whipped it around the cars. I thought, man, that's pretty cool. So went in and threw that together as literally a last-minute deal and got it up for you guys the other night. I'm glad some of you caught it and enjoyed it, since it was something a little bit different. Like I said, I didn't expect it, just something I stumbled onto, thought it looked cool, thought you guys might enjoy it. So I'm glad some of you did have a chance to catch it and enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the way things have been going weather-wise, but I did have a buddy that went to the football game last night. He said you had about 10 minutes to get your beer down before it froze, literally, sitting in the stands. So, and speaking of which, I guess it's about time for Hudson Badge. Yeah, what the heck? Let's get rolling with both of them, a double shot. So anyway, a rookie if it takes 10 minutes, says Neil. "10 minutes to drink a beer, Bill, be safe." Yep, that's he said it wasn't terrible. They dressed for it, but he said, yeah, your beer would literally freeze in your hand. So, of course, when you're at a big event like that, you can't get a beer that quick. So sometimes you got to kind of milk it a little bit just because it takes so long to get another one. So, Planet Wisconsin made it back. But anyway, besides the weather, what else went on this week? Obviously, the last 2 weeks, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have been watching it. I caught bits and pieces of it. JP's here. Of obviously Meekum Kissimmee. Mid to late 90s Mustang brochures. I've got some stuff related to that, Grant. If you get into that project, let me know, and I'll see what I've got laying around. Zach's here, Whiskey Business. I know a lot of you guys watched Kissimmee. I caught bits and pieces of it. I usually left it on in the office. And whenever I had to come to the office and check something, I'd watch a few cars that were going across the block. I didn't just sit around and watch it all week. But Kevin Brown's here with us. But obviously, as always, Meekum Kissimmee brings out a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of heavy hitting cars. And it's always cool to watch. 4,500 cars is what they were estimated to run across the block in the last 13 days. GDP watched it all week. Yeah, Dad told me that about that 56-210, and we've got a video on that that I haven't got up yet. Jim and I actually did a full walk around on that car, so I need to get that video up as well. But what amazed me is the more you look at that stuff, the more there is of everything. I couldn't believe how, and there you see them at every auction, but the mid-year Corvettes were, like rows of them. So Austin's here with us. Yeah, and I agree that overall, I think they had a strong auction. There were a lot of stuff that, didn't sell, but overall, I think they're going to be able to report a pretty strong sell-through ratio. Obviously, Meekum really had a lot of heavy hitter cars there. Meekum has grown by leaps and bounds over the last 10 years, but some of the stuff that they got for Kissimmee this year would sometimes be reserved for like RM Sotheby's and things like that. Some of the Ferraris and things like that. Like the 63 250 GT SWB California that sold for $17 million. Those cars typically, would have gone to different type of auctions. That's right. Number one, the Enzo, the F40. They have had some F40s over the years, but they definitely had a lot more of that premier level stuff that sometimes gets reserved for some other auctions. So 2020, toss on the Vermont Craigslist. Glad you stopped by to hang out with us and see what we've got going on. But it's always a great show. And one thing about it, doesn't matter when you turn it on, you're going to see something cool. Some of the highlights, obviously, we talked about a little bit of it last week. The 66 Ford GT40 road car, based on the cars that raced at Le Mans, only strictly designed as a street car to be sold at dealerships, driven on the street in direct competition with Ferrari. That never actually came together. They only made 30 cars. There's, like Scott said, hammered at $6.93 million. 65 Cobra 427 competition car, $4.18 million. Obviously, some staggering numbers on some of these cars. And it's just cool to be able to see all that stuff. But like I said, so much. And like I said, a lot of this stuff, I mean, I can't believe how many Corvettes I saw go across the block. It's like, you wouldn't think they made that many. But they made a ton of mid-year Corvettes, and they had a ton of them that went through Kissimmee over the last 2 weeks. Pete saw Wicks on there. Yeah, Jim Wicks, our good friend Jim Wicks, Wikipedia. We do a lot of videos with him. If you are not familiar with the Jim Wicks videos, be sure to go check those out. Jim is a Ford guru and a professional auction buyer. That's right, GDP. That's another good point. Tons of wing cars. And and with and obviously Wicks being a professional auction buyer, he goes to all these auctions, and he has clients that call him and say, look this over and possibly bid on it for me. And Jim will handle looking it over. He'll handle the auction block for it and get everything squared away with Mecum as far as getting the information to the buyer to get the payment taken care of. Jim will help line up the transport. I mean, that's what he does. It's a service he provides. That's another thing. Another good point. Scott, a ton of 63 split windows, including the collection of. There's, like Pete just mentioned, one in every color. So it's just a lot of everything. Mr. PFF Flyer. Back with us tonight as well. So like I said, just a little bit of everything from Duesenbergs to Ford GTs. They sold a Tucker for $1.8 million. I think Hammer was 1.7. So just like I said, a lot of everything. I just couldn't believe it. And that's what, that's just, these things have gotten huge. And they're a lot of fun. One car that did stand out to me, that Chuck Norris has a Jim Wicks tattoo. Randy's here with us. Glad Randy stopped by tonight. John from Texas is here with us on Facebook. There was a killer, and I love this car. I think it sold yesterday, a 1958 Pontiac station wagon. Now, you guys know I like 58 Pontiacs. I've had mine since I was a kid. There was a beautiful 58 Pontiac station wagon that hammered at $95,000, so about $105 with fees. But it was a super cool car. That one really stood out to me. And that's right, a lot of Hemi cars, even some Hemi E-body convertibles. In fact, that yellow one with the yellow bumpers, that car was at Indy a few years ago when I was there. So, Jeff from Ottawa is here with us. Always entertaining to watch those things, see that stuff go across the block. You always learn something. They have pretty good commentators that, and a lot of times they're reading information that comes with the vehicles, but that's still sharing information, and we all learn from that, and that's part of what makes it fun too. 68 Saab went for $1.4 million. I did not see that one. And we've got a few days off of collector auto auctions before we roll into Barrett-Jackson starting next Saturday on the 20th. once again, Jim will be there, and Jim is actually taking some cars to Barrett that are his. So that'll be interesting as well. I did look at the 59 Cadillac's custom station wagon. It said the bid goes on at $360,000, something like that, somewhere in that window. That car's crossed the block several times. I shouldn't say several. I know it's crossed the block 2 or 3 times over the last few years. But it was 300 and something with the bid goes on. So anyway, get ready for Barrett-Jackson starting next Saturday. Jim is taking a Cougar convertible that is one of his. I think it's a 71 XR7 428 or 429 Cobra Jet XR7 Cougar convertible that will be rolling across the block. Excited to see what that does, and hoping for the best for him. McCacken gold car, so very, very nice car, as well as a Shelby and a 67 Mustang Fastback. So be curious to see how those go, and as well as the just overall to see how that auction does. Obviously, Barrett-Jackson is no reserve, period. Once in a great while, they'll run a few super high dollar cars that that they'll run with a reserve, but for the most part, 99% of Barrett-Jackson is no reserve. When that car rolls up on the block, it will have a different owner when it rolls off the other side of the block. So that is one thing that is somewhat interesting about Barrett. Obviously the Meekum deal with the reserves, it's always entertaining to see, is it going to hit reserve? Are they going to pull the reserve? Are they going to pull the reserve early? Is there going to be a bidding frenzy and blow past the reserve? You never know. One thing about Barrett, when it rolls up there, it's going to have a different owner when it comes off the other side of the block. 65 GT350 clone we did at 160. And that's probably why, being a resto mod, Scott, with a Coyote in it, those resto mods, I mean, that stuff is hot, and I bet that's what pushed the numbers on that thing. So, Carl Discoverer's here. I'm not sure. I don't know who he bought it from. I know he bought it from an individual on that Cougar, but he's had it for 2 or 3 years. So I'm not sure who he actually bought it from. Corey's here with us from Wichita. You guys are probably getting thirsty. I did not see any 79 Grand Prix, Grant. But they did have a lot of G bodies, and they are strong overall. There's no doubt about that. So anyway, we'll see what happens starting next Saturday with Barrett-Jackson. A few days off, and we'll be right back into the swing of the auction thing, and we'll have more auction results to talk about next weekend. So looking forward to that, and have to find something else to watch for a while on TV till next weekend for Barrett-Jackson. So Austin's about to crack open some hams. Haven't heard anybody say that in a while. Yeah, and I remember that about that 59 Cadillac. The guy that was having that car built to compete with her for the Riddler, he passed away shortly before it was done. So, yeah, I do remember hearing that story as well. So, anyway, Ryan and Amy are here with us. What else is happening? Obviously, I've still not gotten to Pioneer Village. The weather, I was really hoping it was going to work this week, and our weather has been atrocious all week, and obviously it's not that critical. I mean, I will get there at some point in time, so I wasn't going to risk it fighting the weather to get up there to do that. Yeah, I've been staying in contact with Will, and he's whenever you can get up here, we're going to do whatever we have to do to accommodate you and make some things happen. So still working on the Pioneer Village deal. And the other thing we're still discussing, depending on what happens, is whether we want to do a get-together. That was brought up a couple weeks ago to try to have maybe a get-together at the yard sometime this spring. And where any of you guys want to come hang out, we could maybe grill some burgers. You guys could check out the yard, hang out, do some things like that. Just kind of an informal deal. Did not get a chance to touch base with Pete. Email Pete if you're interested, badboyschevrolet@gmail.com, and get on his list to see if that's going to work. I did hear back from Grant Tommy, Straight Six fan, about Tommy, about he does the Central States automotive YouTubers. He does have a few of those guys that would be interested in coming out, and hanging out with us as well. Pete has a total of 10 interested at this point. Okay. Zach couldn't make it this year. I've never done paperwork for a bonded title. No, don't know anything about that, Rusty. Fly in, drive one home. So Pete's got 10 on his list. Grant's got a couple. That's good news. I had not heard anything about that lately, Scott, that Steve Magnante is in recovery from his medical issues. That was a disaster. Okay, it is right. Tommy. I thought it was Tommy. Tommy. Okay, whatever. Tommy. Grant, Tommy. All right. Straight Six fan. We'll just call you Straight Six fan. Rusty Oakey's here with us. And that's Grant had some guys interested in like April. I would say probably April would be a good candidate. Maybe the first part of May or middle of May, maybe. Obviously, the end of May starts getting really busy. In June, it depends on if I do race week this year. And even if I don't do the whole deal of Rocky Mountain Race Week, I will go to at least part of it and see Matt and all of our friends. So that's going to be in June. So that we'll have to kind of see how things go. If you guys are interested and you haven't emailed Pete, please do so we can decide here. Obviously, the next week or two, we're going to have to decide whether we're going to try to put this together or not. So still completely up in the air and tentative, but we do have a little bit of interest. So Grant says he had 5 people, so that's about 15 people. So we're probably getting to the point where we'd actually have enough people show up, because I figure if we have 30 people interested, if 15 of them make it, that's probably, because life happens. Even if you want to come, I know, understand life happens and things change even with best intentions. So, so let's, we'll kind of keep working on that and see what comes together. So if you're interested, please email Pete, Bad Boy Chevrolets, I believe, at gmail.com, so that he can get you on the list, and we will see if we've got enough interest to try to put this together. Nate's good. Well, Nate's easy. Nate's only 50 miles away, so it's pretty easy for him. Pete says he likes the sound of April, so and if we're going to do April, obviously here within the next few weeks, we're going to have to start planning. So if you're interested, if this is something you're seriously thinking about, you would like to try to make or try to attend, get an email to Pete so we can start getting a solid list put together and kind of start throwing some ideas out there. Obviously, not looking at a big, huge, blown out deal, but there would still take a little bit of planning if we were going to. Oh, ads. Hold on. I got to kill these ads. Okay, I think I got those shut down. So, anyway, we'll see how that goes and see what kind of interest, if the interest continues and Pete or Grant hear from more people about whether we want to try to put something together. So, anyway, moving forward, obviously, like I mentioned, I didn't go pick up any cars this week. Shockingly. Mike from Texas is here. So no new inventory to report, other than the stuff I'm finding as I'm picking up the shop. I have found some pretty cool stuff that actually, and some of it I knew it was there. It just got shoved off to the side. And as I started digging through some of it, I started finding some more of it. And some of it is right down here in the auction pile as of right now. So, which is actually huge. I've got a stack sorted out for tonight, but even after I pulled out a pile for tonight, they're still, I did a rough count. There's over 100 more pieces already piled in here. So if we get done tonight and you want more, there's plenty to choose from, to say the least. Scott on Facebook, got to jump out early. Plumbers have to fix stupid tomorrow. Yep. Not a problem, Scott. Glad you were here for a while. So no new inventory to talk about, but we do have a promo to talk about. We've got some emblems to talk about. We've got some story time to talk about. We've got the new raffle to talk about. It's like kind of like Christmas sometimes. Yep. X-Ray Dean's here. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff in here. Whew. Okay. Anyway, send photos of your vehicles. We haven't gotten the details lined out for that yet. Pete said somebody had sent one to him. I've got to figure out if I can get a monitor. Whether I'm going to mount a monitor in here, which I need to do anyway. But I don't know how it's all going to work, of where I can put a monitor, how I can set it up. I'd have to run all that off my laptop. So I do want to start doing some viewer vehicles. As of right now, unless it is an actual still picture, I don't have any way to do it digitally to where we can really see it really well. So anybody that wants to mail in pictures, I'll get that. See, Pete said they can't cover up Heather, and that's what I got to try to figure out, is if we can put a monitor back here to where we can show some of that stuff. And I've had a lot of other ideas on how I would want to use it, but where do you put it? Obviously, that doesn't need to be there. Pete obviously just raised one big concern, that don't cover up Heather, so that takes out that corner, or we have to move her somewhere else. So I've been thinking about that for a long time. I just haven't figured out a good way to do it. And then I'm going to have to set up another computer as well, because I'll have to run all that on my laptop. Because if I open up more screens on these computers, then I'm covering up comments, or I have to minimize screens, and I'm trying to manage multiple points on one screen. So get a Heather shirt. Gray Kitty is over there zonked out. She's curled up in a blanket, sleeping. Sell the moose sign. The moose sign. I don't have a moose sign. I don't think. So we're working on that, and we'll see how that all comes together. But I do want to do that. The viewer vehicle thing, I do want to do that for sure, and start getting some of that worked into the format as well. But anyway, promo models. Let's get to a promo tonight. Check this one out. We checked out one similar to this a while back, and I thought we would catch this one tonight. We looked at a blue one of these here a few weeks ago, or a few months ago. It all kind of runs together anymore. On the 1949 Ford promo. This one's kind of a burgundy color. Actually, I looked it up, and it says it is Ford Fez Red. So, no problem, Zach. I did see that pop up. It's just holding my phone up doesn't show it very well either. But this actually, if you guys remember the last 49 Ford promo we talked about, had some things on it that didn't look right when we looked at the fine details. This one has normal trunk hinges, if you guys can see those. The external trunk hinges that the 49 Ford did use. Now, if you guys remember a few months ago when we looked at the blue car, did not have any trunk hinges. They originally had planned to have them under the body and not exposed, so the early promos did not show the trunk hinges. This one does, as well as, just like Dean just mentioned, the door handles. This has normal doors, door handles on the back edges of both doors. The early body style that they had proposed had suicide doors. So both door handles were right here on the blue 49 Ford promo that we looked at a few months back. Lots of comments popping up. Susie's here with us. Oh, everybody loves the promos. Yep. Lots of guys are digging the promo. This is a friction. Kind of. Was. Supposed to be. Doesn't work very well anymore. But you can see it did have the key handle on it. It does have the gear on it to drive the rear wheels. It does have the original tires and wheels and hubcaps. Condition on this is pretty good. Still has a pretty decent shine. This one, just like the blue one, had chrome windows. You could not see in it, so there was no interior in it. Obviously, being a friction, the mechanism is in there as opposed to an interior. The bumper still intact on this one, not busted off on the corners, front or rear, and it even has little Ford letters right on the front of it. John said they should have just stuck with the suicide doors. Yeah. This one actually is not painted. This is molded in this burgundy color. If you look on the back side, you can see this is molded in this color. Bad Chad's chopping one of these right now. I have not seen that. So, kind of a neat piece. Obviously, we looked at the other one earlier, and this one we can see would be the production version of the 49 Ford promo car, as opposed to the early ones with the other modifications that did not make production on the 49 Ford. So, glad you guys are digging it. It is kind of a neat one. Good looking car. Ford Fez Red is what this, they had a real deep dark burgundy. This one looked a little bit lighter, so I assume this was the Ford Fez Red for 1949. Still has a good shine to it, still intact. Not a bad promo considering this thing is basically 75 years old. Larry's here with us. Glad Larry stopped by tonight. GOB says they hacked that car up pretty bad. I haven't seen it, so. Yes, yeah, promos are different than die-cast. Yeah. Looks like Canadian Derby brown. Promos are promo models that the dealerships gave away. I've actually got the last couple still sitting here that we did. If you're curious, these are all factory promo cars. They're all plastic. These are the ones from the last few weeks that we've done. The 63 Galaxy, the 73 Cutlass. These are all plastic 1/24th, 1/25th scale promo models that were given away by dealerships. That's why we call them promo cars. They were promotional pieces that dealerships gave out. So, yeah, these were all promos. They are totally different than die-cast. And since they were handed out by dealerships, they're actual factory original OE pieces. So they're kind of cool. I dig them. I've actually got a problem when it comes to promos. So, but anyway, what else is going on? Lots of disagreements on the chop you did on that one. Well, that's the thing. When you customize a car, you're going to get that. That's for sure. But, anyway, Kenny's here with us. Glad you guys are all here hanging out, ready to go. Let's see. Just trying to make sure I keep up with what's going on here. I'm sure I'm missing a few. I always appreciate you guys welcoming the new members as people jump on that are new. It's always awesome that you guys do such a great job of welcoming them into the fold. That's what this is about. The more people we have here, the more knowledge we're going to share, and the more we're all going to learn and the more fun that we're going to have. So that's right, Kenny. I think you guys are probably getting a little dry by now. Let's give you a double whammy of them as we move on to emblems. That's right, John. That was another, you could get them that way. So when you bought a new car, they would give them away to the kids, or sometimes they may just give them to the kid to try to get the parents to buy the car. But regardless, and sometimes they would sell them. Regardless, they were a dealership promotional item. That's why they were called promos. And that's what we had tonight with the 1949 Ford sedan. That was actually a later production promo that had the traits of the actual car, as opposed to the earlier 49 Ford promos that had some things that didn't look quite right compared to a regular Ford. So, appreciate that, Matt. Hit the like button. And let's move into some emblems, badges and emblems. We are mixing this up a little bit. We used to do a pre-war and a post-war, but we were missing so many cool post-war badges by only doing one at a time, that we're mixing them up and just grabbing two different eras, period. Maybe pre-war, maybe post-war, but we're just doing two different eras regardless from here on out on emblems. The badges and emblems we're going to start off with tonight come from the year 1958. Actually, I went next door, stole them out of the box. That's right. If you guys caught the video on the 58 Impala, I went and swiped a pair of badges out of that car so we could check them out. These are the ones that go on the quarter panel, the Impala with the rally flags for 1958. These are smaller emblems. This one, actually, I believe some of this paint has been redone and kind of flaked off. But they're good looking pieces. This font is pretty unique on the 58. They used this very similar in 59 as well. Martin's here with us. This is kind of a smaller badge, especially considering it's an exterior badge. Only about 6 1/8 inches long on the script. So fairly small. It is stud mount, pot metal, chrome plated. The rally flags, the same thing. Stud mounted, pot metal. These are very flat, very thin. For as much as here going on here with the Impala and the rally flags, this is a very thin badge. And not a very long, there again, considering it's an external badge, not a very big one to be seen going down the road. About 4 5/8. So this is only, a little over 4 1/2. And this is a little over 6. And this is what we're on the quarter panels of the 1958 Impalas. So I'll get these thrown back in the box because if somebody goes to build that car, these better be back in there. But that's what we're starting off with tonight. The 58 Impala quarter panel badges. I've done that before too, Rusty Okie. You find something, there ain't nothing there, there's emblems on them, you usually try to snag them, so. Yeah, these are not big, thick, heavy emblems. So, we'll start off with those, and we're going to move up into the 70s for the next badge. Love digging the new ones out of the box. Lionel's here with us. New old stock 455. This is early 70s full-size Buick, 71 to 73 era. Once again, this is an exterior badge, but it is a smaller one. Chrome-plated pot metal, stud mount. There again, not a very thick badge. Pretty nice detail. The 455 with red paint on the inserts. Like I said, this would be 71 to 73 LeSabre Centurion type car. And it's only 3 1/4. 3 1/4 inches, so it's kind of a cute little booger. But obviously being 455, it was pretty serious. This one, once again, like one we looked at a few weeks ago, still has the package in it with the nuts for it. That's about as new as they get. The package with the nuts to mount it are still in the box for this 1971 to 1973-ish Buick full-size 455 badge. So that's what we have for tonight on badges and emblems. The 58 Impalas, which I better get back in the box, so they're there with the car. And the new old stock 71 to 73 era Buick full-size 455. Yep, they're going back in the car, that's for sure. If you sent me an email, I don't know if I'll ever find it. I usually don't do a lot of email stuff, so. I do very, very, very little on email. I've got some email accounts I only look at once every week or two because I just don't do much email stuff. So best thing to do is call me. Call me tomorrow. That's the only way to know you got through to me and got a hold of me. Joe's Classics is here tonight. So how about some story time? Let's check out a car that Dad bought years and years ago. This would be pretty cool to have, but a lot of this stuff came and went over the years. That's, how Dad did it. Same thing what I'm doing. Nope, 58 Impala is still here. I said to send pictures of your own rides. I can't do them on email yet because I don't have a way to set up that I'm set up to do them. So yeah, I'm not doing the email pictures of your own vehicles until I get a monitor or something figured up to where we can show them. The email doesn't work on them. I said the only thing we can do now is actual normal pictures. Once I figure out if there's a way to mount a monitor or something and set up a third computer in here, then we can do them on email. So, but anyway, yeah, no problem. Not a big deal. No problem, Rusty Okie. But going back to probably the early 90s, I'm guessing, this was a pretty neat car that Dad picked up and did end up selling the whole car. And there again, today it's a whole different deal compared to what these cars were back then. Station wagons back then were kind of neat, but nothing compared to the following the station wagons have today, especially when it's an A-body intermediate. This little 1964 Pontiac Tempest wagon was not a bad old car. Pretty much all there and intact, minimal rust. It was a pretty decent car. I don't know whatever happened to it. I know Dad sold the whole car. I assume it probably got built because it was not a bad car, even for that time period, even before wagons were, quote unquote cool. It was kind of a light blue in color. I believe it had a blue interior, and I think it was a 326. It doesn't say have the 326 badge on it, but I think it was a 326 automatic, just a basic Tempest wagon, but still pretty cool. And, there again, looking back with the loyal following that wagons have today, always cool to go back and check out an old wagon. GDP was doing wagons before it was cool. Yeah. And that's, like I said, they have a massive following now, but back then I've always thought they were kind of neat, but they've obviously grown by leaps and bounds in the popularity area over the last 20 years for sure. These are stuff that probably dad or I took them. Who knows? I said, this was probably, I'm going to say this was early 90s, maybe mid 90s. Probably early 90s, I bet. So there again, that's the whole purpose of doing this. Taking a few minutes and looking back at some cars that Dad had found years and years ago that obviously long gone and hopefully have completely new futures at this point. But that's another way to give about $100 for. Back then, John on Facebook's a fan of the Tempests. Back then, we did have to take regular pictures to sell them, yes. But we always kept a few as well. Back in the 70s and early 80s, Dad did a lot of rebuilders as well. And he's got 2 or 3 big scrapbooks that I haven't got out yet of stuff that he bought and rebuilt and flipped, Trans Ams and Camaros and a lot of cool stuff back in the 70s and 80s. A lot of neat stuff that we need to get those scrapbooks dug out as well. Joe's Classics been on the hunt, been looking for a wagon. There's a lot of people looking for wagons now. Johnny Z drove the family 65 Malibu wagon to get his driver's license in. Wish he still had that. Big Job regrets selling a 61 Ford wagon. Yep, that's and there again, that's another reason we do it. Just the comments we've just gotten about just those couple of pictures, the memories the station wagon conversation brought back for several of you, as well as those of us that would love to have a cool wagon now. That's the whole reason we do this, and that's why we like cars. That's why we're here hanging out, sharing our knowledge, sharing our memories. Yeah, clamshell Buick wagons. I'd love to have one of those. Those are great cars. I'd love to have one of those for sure. Auburn badge. GDP's first car was a 65 Malibu wagon. Yeah, we're gonna get those scrapbooks out, Alex. I just haven't dug them out yet. 77 Matador wagon. There again, those cars are cool and funky because nobody wanted them back then. 55 Handyman wagon. Yep. 62 Nova wagon. And there again, everybody back then, a station wagon back in the 80s was good for one thing, and that was to cut the roof off so you had a big flat piece of sheet metal for the street rodder guys. I mean, that's what they did to them. I don't remember how many I saw like that. They just whacked. There's a 62 Bel Air wagon out in the new yard. That's what happened to it. Somebody come in there and just cut the roof off, and I'm sure they just took it so they had a big flat chunk of metal to put into a street rod. Ever saw one Matador wagon. We do have a Pacer wagon. Yes, there is a Pacer wagon at the yard. However, a Pacer wagon doesn't look much different than a regular Pacer. They're a little bit longer, but there's not a lot of difference between a Pacer wagon and a regular Pacer. So anyway, how about the raffle? Who's ready to talk about the raffle? New raffle this week or this month, or actually a little over a month. Like we talked about last week, we're going to do an extended raffle instead of a chopped up raffle. We're either going to have to do one short, one normal, two shorts, because of obviously the holidays backing up the December raffle to the first week in January, February being a short month. We either had to do two short raffles, one normal, one really short, or one long. You guys chose to do one long, so we will give this away at the end of February, beginning of March. On this, the 1928-ish Chrysler radiator shell that I put a shelf in it. So, and I did the woodwork itself, so don't hold me to that. I'm not a carpenter. I can kind of fumble my way through, but it is great to put your memorabilia on, promo models, oil cans, 65 Rambler 440 wagon. I've got two 65 Rambler wagons, but they're classic. They're classics in the yard. So the first name out of the big Buick oil can here in about 6 weeks is going to get this Chrysler grill shell display shelf. And like we talked about last week, our good friend Angelo Van Bogart, editor of Old Cars Weekly, author of the new, probably start a woodshop channel now, doubtful. I mean, this is like cutting normal short pieces of wood and screwing them together. Anything beyond that, I don't think it would be much of a channel. But Angelo was kind enough to donate a book, the new Duesenberg SSJ book that he just finished, just came out a couple of months ago. Nobody woodworks yet. Ads. Okay, we'll hold up. Dimensions of the grill. Pete needs to make a spot for it. That is a good idea. Big Job's back. No, I'm not coming to the Starboard Show in Tulsa. Not planning on that one. What's coming up? Wichita Swap Meet I'm going to try to make. I may go to World of Wheels in Kansas City, but not planning on doing Starboard in Tulsa. So, okay, looks like everybody's back. Dimensions on this grill shell. It is 31 by 21. That's not down to the eighth, but about roughly 31 by 21. So 31 inches tall, 21 inches wide is the size on this Chrysler grill shell shelf. So that is a great question, Pete. I'm glad you brought that up. And then the second name out of the big Buick oil can will get a copy of the Duesenberg SSJ, the special speedster just finished by our good friend Angelo Van Bogart. He was on here with us a few weeks ago. He graciously said he would throw a book into this month's raffle. And as always, we'll throw a few license plates or oil cans in there too. We'll end up pulling 3, 4, 5 names again. Plus, sometime here around the end of January, we will go ahead and throw in a couple of a couple of, we're going to do some bonus drawings maybe tonight, but we're going to do some bonus drawings and some license plates or cans somewhere in the middle of the raffle too, since it's an extended raffle. Big Job's out looking for grill shells now. So anyway, this is a cool book. I know some of you went ahead and ordered one immediately. 1,000 copies is already printed of this book. 15-inch Keystone Classics. I've got a Nova that just came in with some on it. They're not real good, but that's the only thing. I think those are the only ones I've got right now. But as we do talk about the raffle, I'm going to show you little bits and pieces out of this book. I think we looked at this picture before. This book is primarily focused on these two cars. The Clark Gable car, and who had the other one? Gary Cooper and Clark Gable were who drove these. Denny's here with us on Facebook. Glad Denny made it tonight. These were the Clark Gable and Gary Cooper drove these cars originally. And this is just this picture right here is obviously not of these cars. But I wanted to talk about this particular picture because there's a lot of other information in this book other than just the two special speedsters. This here was a promotional shot because E.L. Cord wanted his Duesenbergs pictured with celebrities for promotional purposes. Frank's here with us. This picture here was actually taken with Frank Morgan. This is Frank Morgan standing here next to this Duesenberg. It is believed that this was E.L. Cord's personal car, and Frank Morgan was actually the Wizard of Oz. Yes, this is he actually played the wizard in Wizard of Oz. Here he's featured with a Duesenberg in a promotional shot. So that's what's cool about this book is there are so much other cool information besides all the facts about this car. So we'll hit some more high points as we go through and talk about the book when we do the raffle. But like I said, tons of pictures in here. And like I said, if you don't win this one, you can always order your own. I know Alex and a few of you other guys have already gotten yours. It's a great book. It's cars that, most of us are never going to have a chance to own. And a lot of us don't even have a chance to see them. My experience with the Duesenberg that Doug Prey found was amazing, that Doug called me and let me do video with that car and shared that with me to allow me to share it with you. Had a lot of fun with that. So just being able to learn about these cars, the history of them, the important part of what they played in the collector car world, it's really cool. And this is a great book. So awesome that Angelo is throwing one of these into the raffle for this month for one of our lucky winners. Now, who's in at this point? Who got in this week? If I don't read your name and you thought you paid me to get into the raffle, be sure to get with me so we can get it straightened out. We do this every week as to who got in. The first week of the new raffle, kicking off the new year of 2024. And I agree with that, Alex. I have not been to the ACD Museum in Indiana, but I would sure like to get there. I know you enjoyed it immensely and thought it was awesome, and I'm sure it is. Who's in this week? Tony Napoli, Dennis Chapman, Austin McCoy, Zach Thompson, Big Job, Randall Ellenberger, Matt Williams. That is who is in the first packet for the first week of the January/February 2024 raffle. So I guess bonus drawing cans getting a little thin. I'll have to restock. We're down to the last few things in there. It's located in Auburn is where it's at, Kevin. So let's go ahead and do a bonus drawing, even though we're getting a little thin in the bonus can. But we'll dig one out of here anyway. We got this. And let's see who we're going to give it to. We dug that one out of the bonus can. Let's dig out of the big Buick can and see what we've got in here. As always, please remember, these bonus drawings will ship with your next shipment. I do not ship them individually. Yeah, I definitely want to go there. There's no doubt about it. I'd love to see it. Would love to go to Auburn. We've talked about going to Auburn several times. It's just never worked out. Okay, I think I got one. Zach Thompson. So let's see what we got in here for Zach. Wrap this one up a little too good. There we go. Whoops. It is a Mustang. It is an early toy Mustang. Almost looks like a giveaway type piece because it's kind of primitive. It says something on the bottom of it. Can't read it all. Something in Ohio, but it says made in the USA. So it's kind of a primitive little early toy Mustang convertible. So let's tuck that back in. Yeah, like a cereal prize. I think you're right, Pete. Got Zach's name on that one. We'll put it over here to make sure we get it on the way with his next shipment. You bet, Zach. And as always, the bonus drawings we do throughout the raffle do not affect you for the big raffle. So right back in, Zach goes. If we do another one tonight, Zach's out. You can only win one a night. But there we go for tonight's for a first bonus drawing of tonight. That's everybody that's in right there. And let's get moving on. About time for some auctions. I know we love the auctions. So anyway, as always, we got a decent amount of snow, Levi. We got like 6 or 8 inches earlier this week, but then it got cold, so it ain't going anywhere. We got rid of some of it, but not near enough of it. I've got some stuff piled up, ready for the auctions tonight, and I've got a mountain of stuff in here. So we got to thin some of this stuff down. We'll see how things go tonight. We'll see how our feed works, and see what you guys think. 100+ items tonight. It'd be a long night if we tried to do all that. But I do have a lot of cool stuff in here. And like I said, I've actually been digging some stuff out as I've been finding some stuff. So we got some fun stuff tonight. And we've got a good mix tonight. The problem is I've got so much stuff in here now. It's kind of hard to get a good mix. I'm trying to make sure I keep a balance of cool stuff. And there's a lot of it. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started, get ready to roll into tonight's auctions. As always, once we get rolling, what we'll do, we'll hold up a piece. We'll look at it. We'll talk about that particular vehicle. We'll talk about any flaws the piece may have. We may give you some dimensions on it so you know how big it is, what we're talking about. As we're doing that, if you're interested in that particular piece, go ahead and throw a bid up there so I know that we've got some interest in it. No, I do not want any more snow. You can keep all of it. I don't want any more. And after we get done with the description, we'll put on a timer. We will go 2 minutes. I need a real Ed McMahon. It's fun when Tractor Mike can be here. We'll put it on a timer right here on my phone. I keep it right here by the computer, and we will go 2 minutes. I will tell you when 1 minute has passed. I will tell you when 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. When I tell you 1 minute and 30 seconds has passed, you need to remember that based on your delay, it's time to be thinking about getting your maximum bid in on that particular piece. Because once we get, everybody has a delay. Some people it's 5 seconds, some people it's 30 seconds. That's why I give you that minute 30 mark to know when to hit your bid on that particular item. And a lot of you guys get really, really good. I mean, some of you guys have it down to a science, and I'm getting bids at 157, 158 on the timer. So keep that in mind and keep an eye out. Snipers coming in. That's right. That's for sure. That's what happens. We've got a good mix of stuff tonight. I think, yeah, everything tonight shipping will be included. We don't have any big bulky items. We got a lot of cool stuff, but it's all pretty much smaller stuff. So shipping will be included on everything tonight as we get into this in the 48 states. If you're a non-U.S. buyer and you want to play along, hey, that's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to. However, you will have to get me paid in U.S. funds, and then you will be responsible for non-U.S. shipping since this thing kind of funds itself, and non-U.S. shipping can get very expensive very quickly. That's the reason we have to do it that way. So you're more than welcome to play along, and you can use check, money order, PayPal, friends and family, Western Union, whatever works for you. I've got some of you guys just send me cash. Whatever works for you guys is fine with me. Just keep in mind that PayPal has to be friends and family only, and make sure that your payment, your shipping information and what it is for is on there. Obviously, we've got T-shirts, stickers, things like that as well. So please bear that in mind and let me know what your payment is for when you send it to me. If you're not sure what's going on and you want to play along anyway, go ahead. If there's something you're interested in, you want to go ahead and throw a bid in out there, go ahead. Don't do any Bitcoin. Do not take any Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies, Brian Dispatch. So nothing there. But if you want to play along, you like what's going on, you see something that interests you, you're just really not sure of how to do it, but you want to bid on it, go ahead and throw a number out there. And if you win it, just call me tomorrow. My phone number is in the description part of these videos on both Facebook and YouTube. So if you get something bought, you're not sure what to do, just give me a call and we'll get her figured out, and not a big deal. So real simple, real easy. Try to keep it loose and have fun with it, because that's the whole purpose. Extra stuff that I don't need in my collection, passing it on to your guys' collection. And that's what's fun about it. That's why we're here. We dig this stuff. Yeah, Kenny's lost. But we're going to have a lot of fun. Hold on real quick. Bear with me. I got Wix just texted. All right. Trying to get one shipped out of Kissimmee. So I needed to make sure we got that handled. I didn't buy anything, but a buddy of mine did bought a four-wheeler down there. So we're trying to make sure we get everything lined up to get that four-wheeler paid for and get it ready to get headed this way. Anyway, on to tonight's auctions, on to some action. Let's see what happens. Let's see what you guys think. Like I said, got kind of a mixture of stuff tonight, and if you want something different, let me know, because there's a mountain of it right over there. Raptor 700 for sale. This was a 89 250R is what he bought, which I guess are pretty rare. So let's get a few things lined up and ready to go for tonight's auctions. You guys are probably getting thirsty, getting ready to wind up for the auctions. Having a Hudson badge. Let's get some cans out. Let's get rolling. These are actually reruns from a few months ago, so these probably will look familiar. We sold them as a pair last time. We'll sell them as a pair again. No promos tonight. Promos are tough to come by. And I got to get like a couple of them because, I get one and then Dad gets one and then there's got to be 3 of them to have an extra one to sell. So, but it hasn't come together yet. I don't know if it will or not. Tractor Mike is telling me he's got a line on a lot of promos. Like a lot of promos. So we'll see if that deal comes together. I'm sure if that deal comes together, there will probably be some extras because he's talking like hundreds. So we'll see what happens. 89 250R was the one to have. He had an 89 Banshee. I remember Banshees. Nope. If we saw the Hudson badge, you guys wouldn't have anything to drink to. So, kind of excited to get it. He paid up for it, but it's supposed to be like Concours quality, which is kind of crazy to say it's a Concours quality restored 4-wheeler, but new old stock plastic and supposed to be kind of an over-the-top 4-wheeler. So we'll see. Kind of excited to see it. Zach found a few GMC Sonoma and Jimmy promos. I think I've got a 94 S10. I don't think I got a Jimmy or a Sonoma. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started tonight. Well, hello, Gray Kiki. What are you doing? What are you doing, dummy? What? You going to come say hi? Come here. Come here. Oh, yes. I thought you wanted to come say hi, and then you got mad. Yes. Here, everybody was asking where you were at. So there, you can say hi. What? Look, they want to say hi over here. Yes, there. Meow. You doing OnlyFans? Yeah, I don't think you do very good OnlyFans. You're looking for a pain in the butt. You could be on a pain in the butt channel. You're great at being a pain in the butt. All right, say hi to everybody, and then you can go lay back down. Yes, hi everybody. That's a Honda 250R is what it was, Zach. I forgot to say Honda. It's a Honda 250R. Yes, everybody saying hi to you, kitty. Yes, you're a dumb butt. All right, you ready to go lay back down? All right, we're going to start the auctions. Is that okay with you? Is that okay? All right, here, you can go lay back down. You're getting pretty comfy. You're purring. All right, tell everybody bye. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Meow. Now, let go. There. All right, there you go. All right, now we can move forward. I thought the King Quads were 500s, Zach. No dogs down here. A couple dogs at home, no dogs down here. Okay, we ready for the auctions? Auction time. Okay, first items tonight. These, like I said, these are reruns from a few months ago. We sold this pair of cans together because they're a little bit rough, but they're still kind of neat. One's a brake fluid can. One is a case oil can. The first one, Ward's Hydraulic Brake Fluid. This is a piece of tape that somebody wrapped around this. Does still have a spout on it. Yeah, this one was a little more than $5,000. Yep, I'm sure he does. I know my buddy paid up for this one compared to that. Almost 6 inches by about 3 3/4. So about 6 inches tall, not counting the spout. The other one that goes with this one, McCulloch Gear Case Oil. Mobile Lube C SAE 140, a Saucony vacuum product with small, tiny Pegasus on them. Okay, King Quad started as 300s. They did have 500s after that. Okay. The McCulloch with the Goose on it and a Saucony vacuum product with the small Pegasus on it. Gear Case Oil. These are the same size. This is the same, both sides, a little more rust on the back. This has instructions on the other side of it. Alex starting us off at 15. We are selling these as a pair. That's how we did them last time. I know these are a little bit rougher cans, but they're still pretty cool. They're nice display pieces, but that's why you're getting both of them in a one-shot deal. Alex starting us off at 15. Let's go ahead and get these things on the timer and get rolling. On tonight's auctions, the first piece for tonight. We are on the timer. As always, I will read any of the bids on the first few items as I see them, just so you guys can get an idea of where you're at on timing. So, yes, these are both empty. Try to do all these as I can empty, just because you're really not supposed to ship oil and chemicals and things like that. So, these are both empty. And we got Alex at 15 on the pair. X-Ray Dean at 16. Coming up on the 1 minute mark. Dennis at 22, and there's the 1 minute mark. We've hit 1 minute. Dennis at 22, 1 minute left to go on the first items for tonight. Okay, ads are coming. I think I got those killed. And there's the minute 30 mark. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. A little less than 30 seconds left. Dennis at 22 on the pair. Coming out of the wire on this one, Austin at 25. Matt at 23, but I've got Austin at 25. Matt at 24. And that does it. Austin at 25. Matt got the 26 in there, but it was just a little late. Austin at 25 on the pair. Oh, and something else with this new ad situation, with these ads popping up kind of out of our control at some times. Obviously some of them it gives me a warning, some of them it does not. As soon as you guys see them, just let me know that they're up, and I will stop the timer immediately at that point. And then I will tell you once everybody gives me the all clear where we are at on time. So that's so don't worry about that. If an ads pop up, just let me know and go. That's a good idea, X-Ray Dean. Probably not a bad idea just to hit reboot anyway or hit refresh and get up to date. Make sure everything is rolling good as we get into these auctions. So we'll give everybody a few seconds to go ahead and hit refresh and get going. All the stuff Randall with the Nut Farm got for Christmas gifts went very well. That's good to hear. So everybody hit refresh. We'll give you a few seconds here before we get into the next piece. Another kind of little starter piece here to kind of keep things moving and get things started out here. Kind of another little toy truck. I think this is 70s era. I actually came up with a handful of these in various colors and shapes and forms. This is an old Buddy L. Like I said, I'm thinking this is 70s era. Yeah, we got lots of plates tonight. Not a lot of plates, 3 or 4, but there's one super cool plate and some other pretty good plates. Not really any starter plates tonight. Everything in the plate box is pretty good stuff and some really good stuff tonight. This cute little Buddy L is kind of a neat little guy. Kind of a little funky toy, tan in color, nothing fancy, no stickers, no decals. Like I said, got to be 70s era. Look at the front end on this thing. Almost maybe late 60s, kind of a futuristic space-looking type front. Windows are kind of yellowed, but it's not busted up. Little trailer hitch type thing on the back. Plastic bed, or plastic on the inside. Actually, plastic one piece on the bottom. It is a metal painted body in kind of a desert tan or beige All the wheels and tires are intact. X-ray at Dean at 10. It does say Buddy L on the bottom of it. Does not have a year, but kind of a cute little truck. So another good little starter piece. X-ray Dean at 10. We'll go ahead and get this thing rolling on the timer. Kind of a funky looking nose on this thing. That is a separate piece. Actually has a screw on it. So metal body, metal nose, plastic base and interior, and windows and tires and wheels on the little Buddy L truck. Let me give you a dimension on this thing so you have an idea, because this is a smaller one. He is about 4 5/8 long, so a little under 5 inches long on the cute little Buddy L. Coming up on the 1 minute mark. X-ray Dean at 10. Got a nose like Barbara Streisand. There's the 1 minute mark. 1 minute has passed. X-ray Dean at 10. Coming up on the minute 30 mark. And 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. 30 seconds left to go. X-ray at 10. About ready to wrap this one up. On the little Buddy L. Austin at 12. And that did it. Zach was at 15. Holy cow, a whole bunch of bids after the 2 minute mark. Austin and Matt were both at 12. I had Austin first, and then Zach was there. Then Matt and Austin came back. But on my timer, I don't know what you guys were seeing, but on mine, I had Austin at 12 at the 2:00 mark. Okay. Something I thought about after the auctions last week is we haven't done any maps in a while. So I got kind of another cool menagerie of maps put together. Starting off with, there are 5 of them in this batch. Starting off with AAA. Southwestern United States AAA map. This one, somebody put a tag on here that says 1960 for this AAA Southwestern United States map. It's got some kind of cool stuff in here. If we can get to it. Holy cow, we're gonna have here we can kind of see a little bit of what's in this map with some of the ads. So, AAA, Texaco, Arizona, Texaco. This one is going to be, I'm guessing, early 60s by the look of the vehicles on this one. Phillips 66, Colorado. This one probably late 60s maybe. Standard, St. Louis Standard Oil Company. And the last one, this is an earlier one, Conoco. Probably 50s, Nebraska Conoco. New Conoco Super Gasoline with TCP. So, a pretty nice map bundle with some great graphics on a lot of these. Let me see what we can do here. All right, all of them one-shot deal on the maps. If you guys can even see them all. Brian, dispatch at 15. And let's go ahead and get things rolling. Brian, starting us off at 15. You're getting all of them one shot. I believe these are all 50s and 60s era. Rusty Okie at 20. Mark's been jumping in and out occasionally. All right, coming up on the 1 minute mark on the map assortment. Good graphics, assortment of companies. Yeah, that's another good point, Alex. 20 years, nobody's even have any idea what these are. 1 minute has passed. Alex at 24. 1 minute has passed. 1 minute left to go. Kevin at 30. Lots of hearts. Love the hearts and the fireworks. Those are always cool. And there's the minute 30. 1 minute, 30 seconds is gone. 30 seconds left to go. Kevin at 30. Coming out of the wire, Kevin at 30. Few seconds left. Zach at 35. And that does it. Zach, whew, Zach snuck that one in. Of course, he barely missed out on the last one, so he knows exactly when to shoot. We had Zach Whiskey Business at 35. Do more maps. We'll see how things go. I've got some more piled over there, so we'll see what happens. But one thing you guys have asked for, we did a few of them, and I found another one, and I think I know where there's a few more at if I keep digging back there. But old beer cans. You guys like the old beer cans when we did a couple of those? I found another one. This is a small can. It hasn't been opened, but it is empty. So I don't know if it was a display can. I don't know if it evaporated. I don't have any idea. On this Pearl Brewing Country Club beer. Can looks great. Pop top is still intact. Hasn't been punched on the bottom. Nut Farm at 15. And it's only 3 7/8 inches tall. So it's a short can, 3 7/8 and 2 3/8 in diameter. So I've got Randall with the Nut Farm at 15. Let's get this thing on the timer. It is a steel beer can. The seam is right here, metal. I think it sounds like steel. Nope, nothing. It is empty. Do a single map auction. I probably could. If I gathered them all up, I probably could. But this is an empty Country Club beer can. Randall and Nut Farm at 15. Like I said, I don't know if it evaporated. I don't know if it was a display can because obviously the pull tab is still intact. and but there's nothing in it. So that's right. It is basically about a shot glass today. You are exactly right. But it is a good looking can. Like I said, I think I know I've got some more back in the back corner. I got to dig them out. That's the direction I'm heading in the shop. So. And coming up on the 1 minute mark. 1 minute has now passed. Randall with a nut farm at 15. Kevin at 22. And there's the minute 30 mark. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. 30 seconds left to go. Kevin at 22. Zach at 23. Randall the Nut Farm at 25. Few seconds left to go. We're coming down to the wire. Nut Farm at 25. And that does it. The Nut Farm at 25. Zach came back just a little too late. But we've got the Nut Farm at 25. It is a cute little booger. There's no doubt about it. It is a cute, good-looking little can. That's right, Nut Farm. It was close. It was like 202 when Zach took that $30 shot. So Kevin had a 28 hang there that just popped up. So some of you guys may want to hit refresh and try to get caught back up because, yeah, those bids just popped up, Kevin. So yeah, you are lucky, Randall. There was Kevin and Zach were both shooting at you. They just got hung up in the system. How about another toy? This is a cool truck. It's just missing one tire. Tony's, hey, Tony. I'm trying to see if I can see a brand on it. And I do not. This is an early cast metal truck. 50s era, I'm guessing. Nice looking little truck. All red. It's not busted up, chipped up. Few scratches in the paint. The worst part about it, it is missing one wheel. Some chips and stuff in the paint because it's been played with, but overall, for the age, this thing is really pretty decent. Like I said, I would imagine you can get some sort of a wheel that's pretty close to this and make a pretty nice little toy out of this. Weston starting us off at 8. 6 1/4 on the length, so a little over 6 inches long on this one. X-Ray Dean at 10. And let's get this thing going. We are on the timer and boogieing. I've got X-Ray Dean at 10. John at 15 on Facebook. See the nose. Looks like a Ford nose to me. American Rod Shop guys coming over, says number 1. That's great. Those guys have been awesome to hang out with. Glad they've been coming on over. Needs a Christmas tree in the back of it. Yep. I've got John on Facebook at 15. As we come up on the 1 minute mark. 1 minute is now passed. I've got John at 15 on Facebook. And there's the minute 30 mark. 30 seconds left to go. John at 15 on Facebook. Sniper items is a big job. We'll see what happens. John at 15. With a few seconds left, but we're coming down to the wire. Bill Disc at 19. And that does it. Bill Disc at 19. GDP was at 20, but it was too late. Bill Disc at 19 is who I had at the 200 mark. All right. How about something for our Chevy fans? We've done some miscellaneous horn buttons and things over the years, mixed in with our emblems. This is a really cool one. I think it's mid-60s, probably like a 65 horn, or I guess it really wasn't even a horn button. It was more of a steering wheel center, so I think they had a ring. It'll be getting a wheel swap. Perfect. That's awesome, Bill. I think this is like 65 on this Impala horn button. Nice colors on a chrome metal base. Plastic center, which is nice and crisp and clear. Chrome looks amazing. This thing is about 2 5/8 in diameter and about 1.5 inches high. Backside, front side. It looks pretty nice. It's in pretty decent shape. The rings in the Impala are all cast into the plastic. You can see back here, it's actually cast into the plastic for a nice flush, clear front. Black background, kind of gold rings and a gold Impala on this 65-ish era horn sender. So, looks good. Let's get this thing rolling. Who's going to jump in on the Impala horn button? I think it's almost kind of cold. Austin at 10 as I hit the timer. So we are on the timer. I hit it at the same time. Dean at 12. BB. Zach at 20. X-Ray Dean at 22. Working away towards the 1 minute mark. X-Ray Dean at 22. Likes the impaler stuff. 1 minute has passed. 1 minute is gone. Coming up on the minute 30 mark, Dean at 22. And there's the minute 30 mark. 30 seconds left to go. Dean at 22. Coming down to the wire, about ready to wrap this one up with a few seconds left. Matt at 24, Austin at 24, Pete at 30. And that does it. Pete at 30. Kevin L at 25, Austin and Matt both at 24, but Pete had that 30 in there and got him covered. And if you guys like Impala stuff, we got another cool Impala deal coming up here in a little bit. So all right, we haven't done a license plate yet. We need to get a few license plates snuck in tonight. This one here is a pretty nice one. Good colors. 1975, kind of hard to imagine this thing's almost 50 years old and still looks this good. Kind of a nice medium green, white letters, 3 digits, 315 on this 1975 Kansas plate. This is all embossed. Tweedledee started us off at 10. We can see the backside here. Everything is stamped in this plate. It's all stamped in the metal, the wheat centennial year. I can't really tell that this thing has had screws in it. It's got a little age to it. But I can't really tell that it actually had screws in any of these holes. So I'm not going to say that it's new, but it sure looks good, and it's got great color to the paint, a great shine to it. So maybe it is a new one that just was out of the envelope, possibly. That's right. It is Stafford County B. So there's the first name started with a B. 315 low digit. This is not cut out. It is stamped in there. John or Adam on Facebook, we had a current bid or an old bid that just popped up. So I've got you at 25 and I got Alex at 25. If you're on this, Adam. Okay, I got ads coming up. I just seen an ad deal. So we're going to wait till these ads go, and then we'll get back on this 1975 plate. So Adam, if you can let me know if you're on this plate or if that was an old bid that just popped up a little bit ago on your 25 on Facebook. Okay, we're back and we're good to go. Okay, that was an old one that was hung up. Okay, sorry about that, Adam. So anyway, on the 1975 cap, I've got Alex at, or 1975 plate, I've got Alex at 28, and we are live. Back from hair restoration. That must be what they were trying to sell you. Alex at 28 on the great looking 1975 plate. Coming up on the 1 minute mark. One minute has now passed. 1 minute left to go. Alex at 28. Randall refreshed and he's back, so hopefully you're all caught up. That's right, dude. It is crickets. And it is, we have hit the minute 30 mark. There's 1 minute, 30 seconds, 30 seconds left to go. Alex at 28. I think somebody's going to shoot at him. Few seconds left. Alex at 28. Austin at 30. Tony at 30. Alex at 32. Whew. He barely snuck that one in, but he got her back in there as it hit 200. Alex at 32. That was tight. Alex knew they were ready to shoot at him, so he was prepared. All right, what's next? Oh, let's do something fun. We've done a few of these in the past. You guys really seem to enjoy them. So I've got a few more of them ready. These standard motor products jars, these were jars that were in shops and they were actually a glass jar, and they had tune-up parts in them. They were marked and labeled, had a part number on them of what was in them. And these actually held tune-up parts for years in shops. We're doing something more fun with them. They're great. They're great little jars. Original caps, original labels. But I've been stuffing things inside of them, and this one is another one stuffed full of matchbooks. The Nut Farm starting us off at 10. It's jam-packed. But as always, I make sure there's a couple of really cool ones for sure in every one. Zach at 11. Check this one out I stuffed in there. A whole bunch of bits. Zach's back at 16. And then there's also, I threw a Ford one in there too. Plus a bunch of other stuff. I always make sure there's at least a couple cool ones. The rest of them, I just chop the matches out of them and throw them in. Let me see, where are we at? Austin, the X-Ray at 22. So there's what's in it. I don't remember what the rest of them are. I stuffed them in. Matt found a starter bushing, and there's not one in here. There's another one of these jars that does have another bushing in it. So Zach at 23. Let's get this thing on the timer. Dean at 27. So random matchbooks other than these GMC and the Ford. I just always make sure that there's at least a couple of auto-related ones. I don't remember if there's any gas and oil in here, but I try to make sure there's at least 2 or 3 car-related ones when I stuff these in, and then grab another handful, and into the jar they go. Austin at 30. Zach at 40. Zach's getting serious. These are some individuals that Dad had. 1 minute. 1 minute has passed. 1 minute left to go. And there's 1 minute, 30 seconds, 30 seconds left on the standard jar full of matchbooks. Coming down to the wire, about ready to wrap this one up. Did Zach throw the knockout blowout there? No, Austin's back at 45. And got it done. I thought you were right, Alex. I thought Zach had him scared off, but Austin came back swinging at 45. Zach took another shot, but it was too late to get it in. That was about perfect timing. It really was, because, I mean, it was like 1:58. I mean, there was barely any time to react when that one popped up. But the other thing about that is a lot of guys try that, and it gets hung up for a split second, and it comes in at 2:01. So it's a real fine line to walk. Nut Farm's getting thirsty. That's a good idea. All right, let's move on. We've done a few of these in the past, and I had a box full of them. I'm starting to get a little bit low on them. This one, I think we had 2 of these. I think we sold one of these earlier. But I still had one more of this brand, and I've got a few other miscellaneous ones on these old tractor or implement style toolboxes. This one's got something stuck to it here. Let me see if I can get it cleaned off. Had like a label or old tag or some sort of paper stuck to it. I don't know what was on it, but I got most of it. For the EB line, had a big blob over here, so I got most of it scraped off. EB line, this is like an old tractor or implement tray. Bolted to the bottom or bolted to the back. This is stamped in there. A lot of different things you can do with these, like we talked about. Put it on your dresser, put your keys in it, put knickknacks in it. Weston at 5. This one is about 11 inches, roughly 11 inches. Weston at 5, Dean at 10, and about 4 inches wide. It's got a little rust back over in here, but this thing's, who knows how old this thing is. Probably 20s, 30s, probably close to 100 years old. Dennis at 20. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Dennis at 20. You can see where the seam is on these things on both ends where they wrap this metal together. Just kind of rub, basically just pinch this sheet metal together. Beer tray would work great for that. There you go, Randall. Bread holder for the dinner table. Alex is saying teens probably, and it could very easily be right. On the EB line, tractor implement / tool tray. That would be sweet with some pinstriping on it. 1 minute has passed. 1 minute left to go. Dennis at 20 on the EB line tool tray. And there's the minute 30 mark. 30 seconds left to go. Our snow just hit Texas. I hope it all goes down to you guys, John. I don't want any more of it. Dennis at 20. We're coming down to the wire on this one. We got a little bit of time left. What's going to happen? It's been pretty quiet. Whole bunch of bids right out of the gate, and then it quieted up. We got a few seconds left to go. Matt at 21, and that does it. Matt snuck that one in there. Zach at 23. Matt at 21 is who I had at 200. All right. What's next? Oh, I told you Impala fans, we got some more Impala stuff coming up. Let's get to that. We're going to do an Impala badge bundle. Starting off with the newest, going backwards to the oldest. Starting off with, I think this is late 70s era Impala. This is a plastic one that used double-sided tape. David Wood, David W. is on with us on Facebook. This is a flat, double-sided tape mount, plastic, chrome-plated, late 70s era Impala badge. And it is a little over 4 inches, about 4 3/8. When did they begin Impala? The 58. 58 was the first year for the Impala. Backing up to 1967 to a 67 Impala emblem. This is chrome-plated pot metal stud mount. And it is about 10 inches long on this 67 Impala emblem. So 78, 67, but wait, there's more. We've got one more, backing up a little bit more to 1960, to the 1960 Impala badge. This, once again, chrome-plated pop metal. This is a lot heavier badge, a lot thicker, a lot more meat to this one. Stud mount. Chrome-plated. Chrome on this thing looks great. American Graffiti was a 58, correct. The 58 project car that I've got literally is an off-white car with chrome reverse wheels on it. I think they were going for the American Graffiti look on the one that I've got. This one is 7 3/4 on this one. Johnny Z at 20, Dean at 23. I've got on all three of them, you're getting the whole badge bundle of Impala badges, late 70s, 67, and 60 all in one shot. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. I got Dean at 20 on the badge bundle. Tony at 24. Johnny Z at 25. Coming up on the 1 minute mark. And there's 1 minute. 1 minute's passed. 1 minute left to go. Johnny Z at 25. All three Impala badges. One minute, 30 seconds has passed. 30 seconds left to go. Zach at 31. Big Job says, Duck, it might get interesting. We're coming down to the wire. X-Ray Dean at 33. We've got a few seconds left to go. Johnny Z at 33. Matt at 34. Zach at 44, and that does it. That one Zach got in. It was like 159, but he got it stuck in there at 44. So you guys were right saying that was going to get interesting, and it sure did. Get these taped back together. Make sure I keep them all together. And let's keep moving. Oh, something we haven't got. Like I said, I've got so much stuff in here that some of this stuff I'm forgetting some of the things we normally do. But I did get one of these squeezed in here tonight. We've done something similar to this one before, I think, on these little grease caps. These are great little pieces, great little display pieces. They look cool. They display cool. This one, another one for our Chevrolet fans. We're kind of heavy on Chevy tonight, actually. I got other stuff in there. I just ended up with a handful of Chevy things tonight. This one on this little Chevrolet grease cap. Nice thing about this one, the Chevrolet is nice and clear. The bow tie is nice and clear. As all these are threaded on the inside. These literally screwed on the end of the axle to keep the grease in. Hex head on these because you had to get a wrench on them to unscrew them. This one does have a little crack in it over here. Randall, what's the Wolverine cap? That's the only one of those I've ever seen, Randall. Alex at 20. About 2 3/8 diameter on the bigger round area. Good ashtray. It would do that too. And across the hex head, we're about 1 3/4 inches across the hex. So I've got Alex at 20. Let's get this thing going. On the Chevrolet grease cap. Have to fight Alex for that one. That's a killer piece. There's no doubt about it. Highlander's here. Haven't seen Highlander in a while. Holy cow. That's been hate to hear that, Highlander. We're sorry to hear about that. That's a rough 6 months. Holy cow. Well, I think it's the last Chevy piece for tonight. We got a Dodge coming up next, so. Yeah, I don't know. When I shoved all this stuff in a pile, I ended up with mostly Chevy stuff tonight. But that happens. We got all kinds of stuff coming up, though, so. We're glad you're back with us tonight, Highlander, and hanging out. Sorry for your loss, man. That's rough. One minute has passed. 1 minute is gone. 1 minute left to go. Alex at 20. The only bid we've got on the little Chevrolet grease cap. Yeah, no problem, Rusty Okie. I understand. And I did end up with more Chevy stuff tonight than I planned on. It just worked out that way, so. $30 seconds left. 1 minute, 30 seconds is gone. Alex at 20, the only bid we got on this thing. Getting ready to wrap this one up. Alex at 20, that's it. Austin at 25. Zach at 22. Johnny Z at 27. Austin at 30. And that got interesting. Austin at 30. He got it in at 159. I mean, that's why I keep the timer right here. Comments right here. Timer right there. That way I can keep an eye on it. Austin at 30. Whew. Yeah, it was kind of like a firing squad, that's for sure. Hudson Badge, we can do that. Hudson Badge, Austin Badge, Auburn Badge, not Austin, Auburn Badge. We'll get them all up here. All right, I want to give this one more shining up on it. This is a great piece. I can see myself in it. Oh, yeah. We haven't done any hubcaps, regular hubcaps yet tonight. Rusty O gets paid next Friday. I think that's a warning for next week. But we haven't done any regular caps tonight, so I need to get actually get one of these in. Might want to get your sunglasses out for this one, because I could just about shave in this thing. On this Dodge cap. Check this thing out. Mid to late 30s. Does have a few dings in it. Has some rust on the back of it, so it's not a real nice user cap. Nut Farm comes out swinging at 50 right out of the gate. Does have a few dings and dents over here. This line around it is stamped in. The Dodge is all stamped in it. It does have a kind of a peak on it where it says Dodge across here. Alex at 60. And it is, let me give you a diameter on this thing. About 8.5, a little bit smaller than some of the other ones. This one is about 8.5 on the Dodge cap. Let's get this thing rolling. Obviously got some serious players on this one right out of the gate. Okay, hold up. I got add. Let me see if I think I can kill these. Okay, I think I got them shut down. The Nut Farm at 70. Yeah, it's a good looking piece. And I've got more of these, but they're not like this. That's the most of these things from the, this thing's 30s era. These few little dings and dents in this one are pretty minimal. These things are usually clobbered at this point in life. The Nut Farm at 70. And there's the 1 minute mark. 1 minute has passed. 1 minute left to go. Nut Farm may have already taken care of everybody on this one. We may just have to sit here and twiddle our thumbs for another minute. There's going to be bloodshed. There might be. One minute, 30 seconds is gone. A little under 30 seconds left. I don't know. There's Randall and Alex are out there swinging. I think they took everybody else out. We're coming down to the end. We've got a few seconds left, so we're going to see what's going to happen. Alex at 73. It ain't over yet. Alex at 73. We've got a few seconds left to go. And that Randall 75 came in at like 201 and a half. Just as I said, it hit 200. Alex at 73, and then boom, Nut Farm at 75. But Alex at 73 is who we had at the 200 mark. So I guess that's the only fair way we have to do it. Whew, that was interesting, to say the least. Nut Farm's upset. Yeah, that was tight. Yep, that was Alex. I mean, you got it by about a second and a half. I mean, it was like that close to the Nut Farm's bid knocking you out. So let's do a killer can. This is another one of those cans that's been flattened out, but this is a pretty rare one. This is one you don't see very often. We did one of these earlier. I ended up with a couple of these in a box. It's a rare brand. It's not one you see very often. For the Faultless Company. We all need a Hudson badge after that one. This is a can that's been cut apart and flattened out. They're easy to display. This is a fairly rare one. It's not one you see very often. It doesn't have a lot of graphics on it. It does have really nice colors, kind of a tannish yellow, the Faultless label on it. Backside just plain because it literally was a metal can that was split apart. That's where right at the factory seam from when this was done. 25 cents a quart, if that gives you an idea of how old this thing really is. When this was a regular quart can, so when this is laid out, it's about 12 inches by about 5.5. Now, I think it was cut apart. I see little indentions that tell me that it was a can that was cut apart and flattened out. But like I said, good colors, a rare one that you don't see very often. 25 cents a quart gives you a pretty good idea that this is a really, really old can. So anyway, Tony's kicking us off at 10. 100% paraffin-based, Mid-Continent Oil Company. Very uncommon can. Let's get this thing rolling on the timer. I've got Tony at 10. Nice shine. You can see the shine on the paint on this thing. 25 cents a quart, this is really early, and look at how good the paint looks on this thing. We're on the timer. I've got Tony at 10. And all is quiet. Yeah, it could be framed very easily because it's got a little bit of a curve to it yet, but it would lay flat. But we're at the 1 minute mark, and Tony at 10's our only bid. Alex at 15. And there's the minute 30 mark. 1 minute, 30 seconds gone, 30 seconds left to go. About ready to wrap this one up. Alex at 15 on the faultless can. Austin at 20. And that does it. Austin at 20, Alan at 18, then Tony at 20, just a little bit too late, but I had Zach at 21. Holy cow. There was a bunch of stuff hung up on that. Austin at 20 is who we had at the 2 minute mark. That was a flurry of bullets, that's for sure. All right, let's keep moving. A few more things to do yet tonight. And then we'll move on to the magazine. Let's catch a plate, a badge, a couple more plates, a badge, and a couple other things. So now, if you guys remember, I bought a whole box of new old stock Nebraska plates. Now, we've been getting through them. We've probably got, 6 or 8 different ones to do yet. But this one, we haven't done any at all. There was only one of these in the box. And it looks pretty cool. Looks kind of important. Yeah, cold weather slowing the bids down. I think you're right. We actually, that first batch of commercials, we lost a bunch of viewers on that deal. It knocked like 20 viewers off. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not either. This is a new old stock government Nebraska plate. It's smaller than a standard size plate. It's 9 1/4 by 3 1/4. Yeah, this one's really cool. I almost didn't even know for sure if I wanted to sell this one. This is all embossed. It is all stamped into the metal, kind of a yellowish with red letters. I don't know. I think it's just like an accessory plate. I don't think it's motorcycle. It just says government. I don't know. Dean started us off at 25. It's brand new, never been used, no signs of any screws ever being in it. Like I said, everything in that box was new on that batch of plates. So Dean started us off at 25. Let's get this thing on the timer and get rolling on the government plate. Nope, it was Nebraska, not the National Energy Board. Yeah, it's kind of a unique piece. I don't know what it was for. I have no idea, really. Buy it and do hold-up. Put on your vehicle and go do hold-ups with it. Yep. One minute has passed. 1 minute left to go. Dean at 25, the only bid on this cute little thing. '70s era, I would agree with that. I think you're right. I think it is '70s era. Yeah, it is new. There's no doubt about that. 130 is gone. 30 seconds left to go. Dean at 25. Few seconds left. About ready to wind this one up. Lee at 27. And that does it. Lee at 27. Then there's a whole slew of bids. Yep. Lee at 27, and then they start pouring in after the 2-minute mark. But Lee at 27 is who we had at the 2:00 mark. All right, let's catch a couple more things, then we're going to move on to the magazine. One thing we haven't done yet tonight that I do want to squeeze in is a buggy step. We've been having some fun with these things. They're really unique, turn-of-the-century pieces. So I wanted to catch another one of those. I just found the other $27.99 on eBay. Okay. So buggy steps. We've been having some fun with buggy steps. I've still got a handful of them, and they're all different. I've got, I think, one set of, there's Nut Farm's bid of 25 just got here. So we must have, I don't know if we've got some hang-ups because the Nut Farm's bid just came in. Let's do a couple more things, then we're going to move on to the magazine. But I do want to do another buggy step because we've been having some fun with these. They're all different. I've still got a handful of them to get to. Tonight, we're going to do an Emerson. This is a turn-of-the-century, 1890s era buggy step. So almost 130 years old. Kind of a cool layout. Emerson stamped right in it. But buggy step's 25. Okay, you're just ready to roll. So, sorry about that, Randall. You're ready to boogie. This is a kind of a cool 3-bar setup. It has a pretty good drop to it. It's about 7 inches from here to the top of the pad and a pretty good swing to it. Cast in it, all cast iron, one piece. Super cool Emerson buggy step. Nut Farm at 25. Let's get this thing boogieing. Look good on your Silverado. Yep, there you go. On the Emerson buggy step. Really shows little wear. Of course, I mean, they are cast iron. It takes a lot to wear them, but taking away Randall with the Nut Farm at 25. Tailgate step. There you go. And there's the 1 minute mark. 1 minute has now passed. 1 minute left to go. Randall with the Nut Farm at 25 on the Emerson buggy step from the turn of the century. 120, 130 years old, somewhere in that window. And there's the minute 30 mark. Minute 30 is passed. 30 seconds left to go on the Emerson step. Nut Farm at 25. Tony at 27. And that does it. Tony at 27. All right, let's catch one more piece and then we'll get on to the magazine tonight. We haven't done a magazine in a while, so Let's do one more of these old wrenches. We've been having a lot of fun with these big wrenches, turn of the century era farm wrenches, as well as the buggy steps. So that's kind of what we've got here to do next. Another one of these big old antique heavy duty. I don't know how old this thing is, but it's kind of crusty even a little bit. But these were all specifically made for something. This is kind of a cool piece. Kind of weird offsets on it. Kind of flat. Definitely a little, got some wear to it, some age to it. The only thing it says on it is wood. The wood company, I'm not sure. Definitely not made of wood, but this is a wood company wrench. Tweedledee at 10 on the big heavy-duty cast iron. They're once again probably turn of the century wrench. Let me give you some dimensions on it. It's about 11 1/4 tip to tip on this wood branded, I guess I should say, cast iron wrench. Tweedledee at 10. And we're rolling. Last piece for the night, and we'll roll into the magazine. Yeah, see, you traded it with Snap-on. Tweedledee at 10. Yeah, it's got $10 worth of iron in it. Yep. Nut Farm at 15. Wood Brothers made corn pickers. Thanks, Weston. Appreciate that. That gives us a little more insight into it right there. Corn pickers is what the Wood Brothers made. Tweedledee at 16. Dean at 17. As we hit the 1 minute mark, 1 minute past, 1 minute left to go. Tweedledee at 20. Smaller wrenches like this, they have to weld 2 bolts to them and make them super cool drawer pulls. That's a great idea. Put bolts in them, weld them in, and you got a door pull with the old name on it, drawer pull with the old name on it. Tweedledee at 20. One minute, 30 seconds is gone. 30 seconds left to go. Tweedledee at 20. About ready to wrap this one up. Few seconds left to go. Last piece for the night. The Nut Farm at 22. And that does it. Randall with the Nut Farm at 22. All right. A lot of fun again tonight. Few complications with some feed issues, but not terrible. We've had it way worse. We've had it way better, but we've had it way worse too. So, but we still had a good time. We got together and we sold some cool stuff that is going to be added to all of your guys' collections. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did have a good auction tonight, and that's because of all your guys' participation, your great sportsmanship to hang out and have a good time doing it. So, let's move on to the magazine. Kind of weird. We haven't done a magazine in a while. In fact, we had this one laid out last week, and we never got to it. Let's have a Hudson badge. Let's have an Auburn badge. Let's have a good drink after the auction excitement and get ready for Motor Trend from February of 1975. Cover cost of $1. And on the cover, it's here. AMC's revolutionary new car, the 1975 and a half AMC Pacer. Paul from Rhode Island's here. Thanks for stopping by, Paul. Let's get into this. Let's check out a few things. We're going to do half this tonight like we've been splitting them up. We'll do the other half next week. So, not tons of stuff in the first half tonight, but some pretty good stuff. So, let's go ahead and dig into it and see what we've got. Now, this, the Washington Report in the beginning of this magazine, something kind of interesting, that here we are 50 years later, and there is still not a definitive answer for this. Gas mileage. Mileage claims in auto ads, deceptive or misleading. Kind of about the same thing we hear today. And what they were talking about in this article was designing a test that was an industry standard. Looking at what are the current test procedures, how do they approximate actual driving patterns, can a single test be devised? Yeah, before VW rigged the tests. That's where this article was going. Obviously, we don't have time to read these entire articles, but it's fun to hit the high points and realize that here we are almost 50 years later, basically still hearing the same stories about gas mileage, whether it's deceptive or misleading or whether it's actually true. Obviously, we hear a lot of it with the diesel issues, with, of course, the VW deal, now the Cummins deal, as far as pollutants that they're putting out. But there again, 50 years later, still almost kind of the same type of things that we're reading today. Something else that was kind of interesting that we've all heard of, we've talked about it on here before. I've been there. It was a few years ago, but I've been there. Cadillac Ranch down in Texas actually had a full article about when they put Cadillac Ranch in, how they acquired the cars, how they did it. So kind of interesting. I don't know too many people to be caught dead in a Pacer on the way to school in the day. And now they've kind of got a little cult following. Addie loves them. Hudson Badge. It talked about how they put this together. It said the farm advertised in the local paper for Cadillacs, running or not. The fellow who owned the silver 48, which has to be the 49 because there isn't a 48 out there because they start with a 49 two-door fastback, didn't want to sell the thing. A family heirloom, apparently. So the farm dickered with him until he finally agreed to sell the car for $700. So they bought the 49 two-door fastback. Of course, this is back in the 70s for $700. Obviously, dirt cheap today, but 401 on a Pacer wagon, yep, that would that would be fun. Perfect, Austin. Appreciate it. We'll add some more to the raffle for you. Something else that we've talked about a little bit in this era of Motor Trend, lucky license plates. We've seen this on some of these from the 70s. Hold on, I got to kill some ads here. Okay, I think I got those. Lucky license plate. If your license plate appears on this page, you win $10. Here's how it works. If your plate is shown here, just send a facsimile of your car's registration, verifying that the winning plate is yours. Mail by the last business day of the month of the issue to Lucky License Plates, Motor Trend, Sunset Boulevard, LA, California. They have a picture of a license plate from every state in every issue of Motor Trend back in this era. And if this is your plate, you win $10. I guess Bruce probably would be easy to identify that one. Bruce lived in Vermont. And moving forward to our feature article for February of 1975. Suddenly, it's 1980. American Motors' new Pacer is the freshest, most creative, most people-oriented auto to be born in the U.S. in 15 years. So once again, not a ton of color. I mean, this is their feature article, and it's black and white. There is a little color in here, but primarily ads. Talks a little bit about the Pacer. It shows the Pacer X. Interior shots and gotta have this on the Pacer, action shots. Yes, there's even an action shot of a Pacer, if you can get an action shot of a Pacer. But there it is. Cargo area, dashboard, stylish seats. This is the Indian cloth used in the luxury DL model on what AMC calls individual reclining seats. They may be substituted at no extra cost for the vinyl buckets offered optionally on the Pacer X. The base model comes with a bench front seat, but again, bucket seats may be ordered. AMC kept the Pacer's dashboard uncluttered. The instrument panel is efficient and readable, with well-labeled toggle switches and push-button ventilation heater controls. The Pacer is available in 15 colors and 10 two-tone combinations, dark on the bottom, light on the top. Wide side molding protects most of the car's side against nicks. This is Pacer's basic luggage compartment, though the second seat can be folded forward, bringing potential carrying capacity up to 35 cubic feet. The spare is hidden under the carpeting, an option over standard rubber mats. Yeah, and my daughter loves them too. My daughter loves Pacers and Gremlins both, for sure. So now Pacer was a lot different than a Gremlin, but they both have a heck of a little cult following anymore. Luxury Pacer, yeah, yep, the luxury Pacer. So that's what it had for the new and improved, or not new and improved, the brand new, suddenly 1980 Pacer. Now, the last article I want to get to, or no, not the last article. We got a couple more articles I want to catch. This one was kind of interesting. The heavyweight championship of the world. Ralph Nader versus Ed Cole. Ed Cole being a recently retired GM executive, where basically Ralph Nader and Ed Cole debated basically everything Ralph Nader complained about, which was basically everything. If it was in the automotive world, I think Ralph Nader complained about it. Obviously, he pretty much killed the Corvair. And this was done on Donahue, actually, at the time, believe it or not. Quite a bit to this article. This happened at the end of 1974, October 29th of 1974, when Ed Cole, who had just recently retired from the presidency in September of 74, sat down to debate Ralph Nader on Donahue. Now, obviously, there's a lot to this. I did read it all, but there is a lot to it. I mean, we could be here the rest of the night trying to get into all the details of it. But basically, the gist of it was no matter what happened, no matter what they discussed, Ralph Nader said it wasn't safe. He couldn't understand why nothing could be safe. Everything, well, I mean, you're driving cars down the road at speed. I mean, things are going to happen. So everything that basically was brought up, Ralph Nader said it isn't safe, which that probably shocks absolutely no one here hanging out with us tonight. That Ralph Nader complained that everything that was brought up was not safe. So much text here, it's kind of hard to pull some of the points out. But let me see here if I can pull out a few things. But like I said, there's so much text in here. I would either have to write all over the magazine trying to mark them all if to try to catch a few of them. But it's just, like I said, that's basically what it amounted to, is no matter what they came up with, Ralph Nader complained about it. Randall, the Nut Farm's got to bail off. Glad you're here tonight. Oh, there was one. This is one of the interesting points I did want to bring up. Airbags. Donahue pinned Cole again on the subject of airbags. Won't there be 100,000 GM cars with them in 1975? Ralph Nader had points to explain his standing on the. To a certain extent, yes, but not always. That's for sure. No, there was controversy over the test dummy to be used, Cole answered. The DOT now has a test procedure that they haven't released yet to the auto industry. Cole continued to defend the passive bag idea. With a belt, the only thing that arrests your head is your neck. Yes, I have bags in my car, not because it's good for me, but because it's good for my children. It's so hard to keep them belted up. So a lot of talk about airbags. Ralph Nader says they should be much cheaper, responded Nader. Quoting prices in the $80 range, cited in Washington testimony by John DeLorean, which in Cole's response that is DeLorean doesn't have access to the latest figures. They could sell it. They thought the airbag option was going to cost GM about $150 to put it into a car. So Nader, once again, his complaint was they should be cheaper so that everybody could afford them. But they cost what they cost. So, I mean, that all had to be factored in. That's right, except for the metal that shoots into your head. Yeah, And I've heard there's going to be a lot more recalls on that too. I'm not sure. So not sure where that's going. But obviously, there again, a lot of people don't realize airbags were a real deal back in the mid-'70s, all right. And that's another good point, Dean. If you disagreed with them, you were wrong. That's for sure. So that was kind of interesting to look at that there again in 1975 terms, talking about some of that stuff. One other thing, safety-related issue that I wasn't even really aware of that actually was going into production in 1975. The interlock is dead. It is a well-known fact that seatbelts save lives. Test after test over the past umpteen years has documented that a properly restrained occupant is far less likely to be injured or killed than an unrestrained occupant in the event of an accident. While lap belts alone are beneficial, the combination of lap and shoulder harnesses are even better in preventing injury or death. Several well-searched summaries of automobile accidents have shown that restrained occupants survive crashes at speeds above 60 miles per hour, while fatalities of unrestrained occupants have occurred at speeds as low as 12. Armed with all those facts, our government decided several years ago that all occupants should be wearing their seatbelts whenever the car was moving. And if people were not going to wear belts of their own volition, then the National Highway and Traffic and Safety Administration, the agency charged with responsibility for vehicle safety, was going to enact into a law requirement that would force people to wear belts, whether they wanted to or not. This requirement was part of Motor Vehicle Safety Standard number 208, and it stipulated that starting with the 1974 model year, all cars sold in the U.S. were to be equipped with a device that would prevent the car from starting unless all front seat passengers had properly buckled their combination lap belt and shoulder harness. I didn't realize that. They actually, and it was law, it obviously got changed, and we obviously don't even have that today. You can start a car. But in 1974, they had enacted a law that if your seatbelts weren't buckled, they weren't even going to allow the car to start. So there again, looking back 50 years later at some of this stuff that they were trying, and I mean, can you imagine where you couldn't even start your car without getting in and buckling your seatbelt? Just like right now, it's 5 degrees out. You couldn't go start it. You have to get in, put your seatbelt on to start it. I think that's right, Frank. I think I did remember seeing something. Nader didn't even drive. So, yeah, I do kind of think I remember seeing some of that. So they literally were trying to get this, or they did pass it into law, but it obviously didn't stick, that you couldn't start your car without having the seatbelts buckled. And that's what this article was talking about, that they were trying to get it changed. Right. Instead, they made an annoying bell that won't turn off, which we're all extremely familiar with that. But just like when it's cold out and you want to go start your car and let it warm up for 5 minutes before you go jump in it, you couldn't do that unless you crawled in and strapped in. And then I would assume it would stay running if you took it off and got out, but I'm not sure. But there again, and check out these graphics of how these systems work. I mean, obviously, we know today we get these really killer. You look at an article, you get killer computer-generated graphics, diagrams. Look at the stuff they were using 50 years ago to explain it with. Check out these graphics and diagrams. Definitely a little archaic compared to what we're used to today. So that kind of took us about to, I'm sure they were hand-drawn, Pete. That kind of takes us about to the halfway point. Let's flip back to the front. Let's catch some of the ads and then get ready to wind things up tonight. Kenny's having fun with it. That's why we do this stuff from different eras. We've done stuff from the 50s to the 90s. I've got one that we're going to get into probably here in a few weeks that is super, super crazy old. And the stuff in it is just amazing. So I'm glad you guys are having fun with it. And the new system in cars that have been passed starting in 23 is going to be worse than you can imagine with a tracking system in all vehicles. I'm sure of that. Yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't drawn in SolidWorks. That's for sure. Let's catch a few of these ads. Starting off with something that's kind of actually been in the news this week, as a matter of fact. AC Delco, but look at this ad. Look at all those Camaros. Yep. The IROC series in the AC Delco ad. Obviously, big news this week. Ray Evernham bought the name and intends on revitalizing the IROC series. Like type cars, drivers from all different circuits. But these are all Camaros from 74 in the IROC series, which they're again now back in the news again with a new future with Ray Evernham at the helm of IROC. So AC Delco ad, but actually with the news this week, a little bit more to it. Alex was driving a Jensen. Yep, kind of crazy that it was 50 years ago. I thought this was kind of a fun ad to check out. Obviously today, if we're trying to figure something out, what do? We do what we're doing right now. You get on YouTube and you Google it. You YouTube it for a video, you Google it for an article on how to do something, try to learn something about a vehicle, whatever you need. Back then, you didn't do that. But you could order from Peterson Publishing the complete book of pickups and vans, the complete book of Plymouth, Dodge, and Chrysler, the complete Volkswagen book, automotive troubleshooting, how to tune your car, #3, the complete Ford book, automotive tune-up and test equipment, automotive tools, #1, the complete book of street machines, and the complete Chevrolet book, all for $2 to $2.95 per copy. Check this out. All the how-to books from Peterson Publishing in at the end of 74 going into 75. This ad was kind of funny, and I remember this ad for some reason, back when I was a little kid. Something off topic, but that's what's fun. Sometimes we throw some off topic ads in just because it's a sign of the times. This one for the Air National Guard, and I'm sure this is going to ring a bell. I guarantee you some of you guys remember this ad with the jet fighter parked in the driveway as a recruitment ad for the Air National Guard. Now that I do not know, old fart. I do not know if those IROC cars were ever sold to the public. That's a great question. And I could not tell you an answer to that, but it's a heck of a question, though. And a great ad here. This one in some color. It runs leaner. It runs cleaner. It saves you money every mile. The 1975 Camaro. Pete's loving it. Yep. Things kind of fall apart on me. No, 74 was the last of the small window, Dean. So 75 was the first big window. One more ad we want to catch, if I make it that long. 8-year-old Walker's Deluxe Whiskey. Among cars, there are many famous 8s. Among bourbons, there is one 8-year-old Walker's Deluxe, pictured with a 1930 Cadillac. Now, I've just had a cough here the last couple of days. When it hits me, it just hits me. I'll be fine for hours, and then boom, it'll hit me, and it'll tear me up for a little bit. So that'll catch us for the first half. You can buy it at the PX for $577. So there again, something like that, just a sign of the times ad. It's fun to throw some of that stuff in. Boom, Alex remembers it immediately and remembers how much it costs. So but that'll catch us for the first half of the February 1975 issue of Motor Trend. We'll catch the back half next week. And I believe there's classifieds. That's right, Dean. You guys all need a drink too. I believe there are classifieds in here too. So we always love doing the classifieds. Yep, got a few classifieds for next week. That's what it is, Kenny. 5 degrees has not helped. I think that was a big part of it, is just the weather. Tony's digging it. Glad you guys had fun with it. And that's why we do it. Looking back in time and seeing whether some of this stuff did or did not come true and how it played out over the last several decades. So anyway, Kevin L's bedtime. I think it's about all of our bedtime, actually. What's coming up next week, video-wise, real quick? I've got to get some more new inventory up. I've still got a few from Meekum, Kansas City. I got some stuff from my buddy's yard, and I've got the last batch of the Pitt State videos ready to go up. So, Bill Dish jumping off. Glad you were here. So we've got some cool stuff coming up. We'll see what this weather does next week. I need to get some cars picked up. I've got an auction I'm going to try to catch this week. Alex is supposed to be here Friday, so it'll be great to see Alex again. coming up for the Model T class at the McPherson College and stopping by to pick up his stuff and look at a few more cars. So looking forward to seeing Alex this week, and ought to be a good week. With that, I think we've about put an exclamation point on episode number 194 as we inch closer and closer to 4 years of this. February 9th was our first one. I don't know what's going to fall close to that this year. The 11th, February 11th is the closest to the 9th. Yeah, no problem, Alex. We'll get your stuff picked up. We'll look whatever you need to, but we'll make something work. Appreciate you guys being here, making this thing what it is. And that's right, like Tony says, everybody stay warm for sure. Because it's cold everywhere. This whole country is kind of like an ice box right now, I think. So, hope everybody has a great week. Like I said, I've got one auction I'm going to try to hit. Looking forward to that this week. We'll catch some stuff on Toy Tuesday, Live Tuesday night. I'll get a few more of these other videos up this week. And we'll see how things go next week. Hopefully ads don't knock everybody out next week, and we keep everybody can hang out a little easier. The ads were kind of rough on us this week, so we'll see how that shakes out. And with that, I think we'll wrap this up. We'll see some of you Tuesday night. I don't know what we'll do Tuesday night. We'll find some cool stuff to check out for Toy Tuesday. You never know. I'll be working the shop tomorrow again cleaning. I don't know what I may find tomorrow. But I guarantee you some more of it. We'll be back in the auction boxes for next week. And it's going to be cold Friday as well. Dean has 41 Ford out today. So what are we looking at up here on Friday? Oh, yeah, it is going to be cold again. Yeah, it's supposed to be mid-30s Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday we're looking at a high of 19 here, Alex. So, yeah, we'll kind of have to play that by ear and see how it works. But there's my current temperature, and that is no fun. People up in Wisconsin without electricity, that would really suck up in Big Jobs area. Fortunately, we still have power. So, anyway, hope everybody has a great week. Hopefully the weather starts cooperating with some of us so some of us can get some things done. And we'll plan on seeing you all right back here next Sunday night, 7 o'clock for some more Sunday Night Live Chat. Kill this last batch of ads so it doesn't screw us up as we get ready to wind down for tonight. Appreciate the Johnny Carson comments. That's awesome that you guys even consider what we do here, that, you know, I try to do a good job for you guys to consider that or even call me that. 58 Plymouth. I've got a few bits and pieces off of a 58 Plymouth, Drake. I do not have any 58 Plymouth cars. I bought a bunch of parts. I bought several cars from a guy, and there was a batch of miscellaneous 58 Plymouth parts there. So I've got a little bit of miscellaneous bits and pieces, but no parts cars right now. So if you want to give me a shout on that, Drake, we can go over that and see if we've got anything there that can help you out with yours. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Definitely hope to see all of you right back here next Sunday night. Same bat time, same bat station. Do not have any fenders. No, don't have fenders. I think I had a hood and a bumper and some other miscellaneous bits and pieces. Did I ever find out about a nobody plaque? No, I never did actually pursue getting, like, I assume you're talking about like the aluminum club plaques made. That would be something that maybe we should probably look at. It's been a while since we talked about that. I've got a 58 Rambler wagon out there, Dean. Yeah, that's something we probably should start pursuing. I've got a few other ideas. Like I said, I want to work on some new shirts. So that's something else to think about. And also, yeah, send Pete an email if you're thinking about maybe trying to make a get together. We'll see if we can make that work. I'll stay in touch with Pete, and we'll see if we can maybe make something happen there. So with that, we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. We'll see if we can get it together. Kenny says hit the like. I appreciate that. With that, I'm going to jump off. You guys have a great week. We'll see some of you Tuesday night. We definitely hope to see you all right back here next Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, for some Sunday Night Live Chat. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great week.